Welcome back to part 2 of Food for Thought with myself, Mr. Maps, KB Fire, and of course our guest, Mr Chaka Nkofu. We're discussing issues of governance, more importantly governance in Lesotho and governance in Africa.
Yeah.
And on that note, I want to start this section by going back to the question we closed off with of African solutions for African problems. Do you think governance as a whole is a system that doesn't necessarily work for Africa, or do we as Africans kind of just flout it for our own benefit?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ndalema Petla. I was dying to respond to this question. Importantly, it talks to what I talked about earlier when I said we have lost our moral compass as a society, as Basotho, and of course even looking in the continent in Africa. Our brothers and sisters in all these other African countries, they are also, the same has applied to them as a result of civilization, development and everything. It's good to evolve, it's good to develop. I mean, nothing remains constant.
Right.
Life itself
Change is the only constant.
changes.
Yeah.
A child is born with no teeth, no hair, nothing. So this is a fundamental evolution, development,
Right.
develop stages, cardinal stages, critical. Baby, child, teenage,
Pre-adulthood.
pre-adulthood, adulthood, and then old age, and the cycle, it turns full cycle. You know? Then the old man or old lady starts losing all the senses.
Yeah.
Where does it go?
Goes
Back to where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, we have all, as a result of the impact of in-country urbanization, migration, and all of those things, global impact of migration, investors or would-be advocates of development in the European or advanced first world countries, if you like.
Right.
They come to Africa because it's virgin, untapped,
Yeah.
full of resources.
Right.
Now, what do? They give us, they put wool on our
Yeah. Our eyes. Yeah.
and excite us with the little things that we don't know about.
Right.
It shines.
Remember, mehleng ya
Yeah.
Morena Moshweshwe, baruti ha ba fihla mona le bo mang ba fihla ka tswekere.
Right.
Was the highlight
Yeah.
and excitement of this thing you recite.
He says, pushane in it.
You know, so as a result, we get caught up in other things and forget who we are and everything that we stand for. Now, Africa, or let me say Lesotho, le Morena Moshweshwe, we practice good governance long time, long before it was documented.
It was inherent.
It was it's
was
inherent in us.
Part of the culture.
Look at the structures that we have.
Correct.
Ho no na la mahotla ho na le eng
Yeah.
mo monna ha even before re fika mo initiation schools mabollo where re neng re rutwa how to transcend or transition into adulthood from boyhood or you know. So ho no neletsano hantle. The same way when you look at the corporate world now, you have all spheres of governance. You have all founding entities. So our founding entity, initiation, mabollo ma, where we prepare you for adulthood, lelenyalo and so forth.
Yeah.
You see. So, even in the villages, there was decentralization. Morena Moshweshwe was not the be all and end all. Ho no na le makgotla mo ho buang teng. Hence this concept ya how ho bue ditabeng ebe Mosotho o tla re mo a gotla ha tsekiswe ke mo a gotla. So that means let me play devil's advocate. It's an equivalent of that English phrase. Let me play devil's advocate.
Right.
Okay.
Let's say, for instance, suppose this is this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so that person helps you reflect when you're discussing issues impacting the village or the society. Helps you reflect. So we're already practicing these things. You know, there were orders.
Yeah.
You know, there were ways and means of living, communal leadership.
Right.
You know, and these many other things. You know, so Ndalama Petla, we the corporate and governance activists in this country, myself included, and my peers and my colleagues, we have now Institute of Directors Lesotho.
Right.
That was unveiled 2017. It was established in 2004, and it was just a shelf company or a shelf entity.
What's been happening?
That was sitting there somewhere. Now, until the younger generation, us, we engaged with the founding directors or the founding members of the organization, you know, mapped the way forward. Today, we have developed a code, a governance code.
Great.
I'm glad you asked this question because we are saying, what solutions are there?
Yeah.
And what did we do?
How do we go forward?
We looked at other governance models in other countries. Globally, we looked at the King codes of good governance. We looked in the diaspora, we looked elsewhere in the world, globally, and compared. Even in Africa, the Nigerian code looked at other codes.
Right.
And we developed what we call Mohlomi Code.
The Mohlomi Code.
Yes. And it is based on the ethos of Morena Mohlomi.
Yes, sir.
Who was the mentor ya Morena Moshweshwe. And for those that don't know, Morena Moshweshwe was, for lack of a better word, a lunatic.
Yeah.
Was a young Mosotho boy.
He was a loose cannon.
Very aggressive,
Yeah.
you know, in his boyish era.
Yeah.
When he was growing up. And you remember the talk was a high man in my building Ramonahi. Yarenkele beula la kadi. Le beula le beuding di diluza za Ramonahi. Yaba onzo go fela shu. Hence le bitso le mpete le Moshweshwe. Wa ha kadi le beula. So this code seeks to embrace the very values of Basotho, and hence why it's even named after Morena Mohlomi. And Morena Mohlomi, at the time in the region, in the sub-Saharan SADC region, Southern Africa, had established a school of governance where all the leaders within were trained in leadership and trained in leadership values that are aligned and linked to the values of society.
Right.
You see?
I have two questions that may be controversial. I'm going to start with the first one.
Don't do controversy yet. Don't do controversy
Okay,
yet.
let me start with this question.
Yeah.
Now, with the establishment of this governance, I want to say institution, when you look at how small our country is, when you look at how political everything has become, and you look at the familiarity we have with people that, you know, it's almost, the politics are almost culture now. How effective, or how do you plan to be effective within that space with something that, because good governance also means you're impeding on other people's agendas as well, so to speak. How are you going to be effective in implementing that, or getting people to understand that culture of good governance when we're at a point where, hey man, we're almost around the corner, you know?
Well, as I said, the fundamental challenge in Lesotho today is that there is lack of solid frameworks, legislation, and the likes.
And
Now-
that's on purpose.
Now, in as much as you would find governance codes are not binding, but let me show you how imperative, as non-binding they may appear. You have three tenets of governance, Lesotho Mona. You have the judiciary, you have the government,
Right.
and then you have parliament,
Right.
right? Now, these are meant to be independent.
Don't forget the fourth estate.
Yeah.
Us.
Yes, yes. No, we perceived we are represented
Right.
because parliament is representation
That's correct. Yeah.
of
Correct.
constituencies. Constituencies being made up of us.
Of the people.
Yeah, and we vote
Correct.
for those representatives. Now, when we have things that are not going right, be it in the corporates, be it anywhere, in government ministries, awarding of tenders, certain things, and you find you have these challenges in court. Now, the test in court is going to be, or is, best practice.
Right.
Now the judge is going to, or the presiding officer is going to say, in an entity of this nature, at this day and age, how would a normal director exercising their fiduciary duties, exercising all these other duties of responsibility and accountability behave? Then the basis for that behavior is embodied in the governance code. Hence, the code by and large influences the decision
The decision. Right.
of the presiding officer
Right.
on this matter. Then what happens? That court case, hence why we always say decided court case, becomes a benchmark,
It's a precedent.
it's a precedent
Yeah.
basis henceforth. So in the absence of a code, it becomes very difficult. But however, the judiciary normally looks in the region, in South Africa, a certain in a case where the same merits unfolded.
Yeah.
This is how
This is how we. Yeah.
the matter was
was
resolved,
determined.
or this is how it was
Yeah.
determined. Absolutely. Then now that becomes reference point
Right.
to be able to craft our own decision in this respect. You see. So these codes now ferment into law indirectly.
Right.
So they become binding.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
So that is how we hope to achieve
Okay.
I like.
disruption in a way to this lawlessness and
That has become a
misbehavior,
norm.
delinquency in the corporate governance space.
I like this conversation a lot. I like the conversation about how we determine and predetermine how we're doing things. This conversation of ours takes place as we watch the
At a time.
at a time when the Zondo Commission plays out,
Yeah.
and we watch. And I'm making prejudgments here, but I'm going to do it anyway. We watch impunity, and we watch it get dissected, and we watch it be
Set a precedent.
yeah, we watch it be ventilated. We watch impunity be ventilated. All of these people were hired at some point and were called fit and proper. All of them passed a certain number of tests. Everybody's innocent before in the eyes of the court. So I'm not going to make any prejudgments on any of those people. But I'm saying all of these people started as a fit and proper.
Yeah.
We are going to, at some point, I think, in this country, find ourselves with something similar to a commission, even if it isn't a commission, even if it's just a court case. What do we do with directors specifically? I want to talk about the corporate world. What do we do with directors who, until a certain point, have been fit and proper and have actually done good work, and then at some point have become delinquents?
Short left.
What do we do? Because the corrective system, if we're talking about crimes, it's called correctional punishment. What do we do with people who we've asked to entrust? We've entrust money and things like that. What do we do with them?
Okay. First of all, I think in our governance codes, we do make provision. Governance codes, companies legislation, Companies Act, does provide for delinquency arising from directors themselves.
Right.
Yes.
The very same people that we've said must be fit and proper. And even in their appointment within the law, there is provision that there must be a fit and proper test. Have you been a delinquent director before? Have you been
Track record.
in a
Yes.
company that was liquidated?
Right.
Have you been, are you solvent? Those are to determine the level of risk
Right.
going forward for your proposed role. Now, in the event that a director is found to be delinquent, in the corporate good governance space, the one thing that we want to maintain is good directors
Right.
and not perpetuate
The cycle.
the cycle of incompetency
And
arising
delinquency.
from
No
delinquency
accountability.
and so on and so forth. Now, what we aim to achieve is that there's provision to take action against delinquent directors
Right.
or directors that are found wanting in terms of their decisions. It would normally arise from decisions, and responsibilities. Now, resolutions that they have taken, was it in the best interest of the company?
Right.
Was it within best practice in terms of governance code? As we have already alluded to previously. Now, once we find that the director acted with impunity, they're delinquent, and as a result, that delinquency is now becoming incompetency, they can, look at, in South Africa, the recent judgment with Outer
Right.
and the former chairperson of the SAA, Dudumieni, where she was found, the court decided she's a delinquent director for life.
Forever.
So that means she will never be in any board.
We'll never let her sit on a board.
Yeah.
She can't start a company.
Now, unfortunately, certain things in the eye of the law, either there is elements of criminality. So if all those elements can be tested and found in a court of law, then it's a different case altogether.
Right.
Then the criminal law takes precedence.
It'll take its
and
course.
then she might find herself in jail or in a correctional facility, setting good precedent.
Good precedent. I like that answer, and I like a word that you used in there. You said impunity. I want us to talk in section 3. I want us to talk about impunity, and the reason I was asking you to hold off on controversy because I want us to finish with controversy.
Okay.
So we're gonna go to our break, and then we're gonna start section 3, and I'm gonna.
It's gonna be a tough one, Mr Chaka. I warn you now, but it must be done.
Okay.
In the name of good journalism.
The name of this is food for thought.
Yeah.
Mr. Maps, the fire, Mr Nkofu. T-Mac on production, meticulous Martin doing the sound.
Yes, sir.